Now, one big problem that we have is that, once you log in, if I successfully log in, right? It's Alice, 123. So the only place where I know I'm logged in is in the profile. No one else knows that I'm logged in, right? So that's not very useful. Right? Ideally, if I go now to my dashboard, I would see the courses that belong to me as a faculty or as a student, right? But there's no way for the dashboard to know who's logged in. Well, I could, but the dashboard could again make a request to the server, right, and check to see is anybody logged in, right, and then use the user ID, right, to filter the courses for that student or that faculty, right. That would be very cumbersome, right? Every single time I need to know who's logged in and the identity, I need to make a brand new query out to the server to see who's logged in. So instead, right, we're going to declare a single source of truth of who is logged in on the client side, right? The client side is going to make a request out to the server, is going to find out who's logged in, and then is going to store that information in a reducer. And then anybody else in the application who wants to know if anybody's logged in, they're not going to have to go out to the server. They can just retrieve that from the reducer, right? But that has a flaw, right? The flaw is that, I mean, yes, as you navigate between screens, you can always pull from the reducer who's logged in. But what if you refresh? If you refresh on the client, you lose that information. The reducer resets to the initial state. So that means that we have to support the fact that if somebody does refresh the screen, we're going to have to go out to the server again to figure out, right, who's logged in and reset the current user in the browser in the user interface, right? So anyway, so let's work on that. So let's create a reducer for the account where we can store information about the current user, right? So let's do that in the account here. Let's create a reducer, which is gonna the state variable that I care here is the current user. So this is going to be a copy, right, of the current user that is on the server, right? I'm going to go out to the server and I'm going to copy it here. And then anybody who wants any screens that wants to know who's logged in, instead of having to go out to the server, that we have a local copy here in the user interface, right? And we're going to set it when using the set current user. And this gets set when? Well, when we sign in, right? We get the user, so we can set it there. When we register, we also get a user. We can set it there, right? When we log out, right, we need to clear this, right, and just destroy the copy, the local copy, right? So we have to make sure that, right, we stay in sync what the server is doing, right? If somebody's logged in, then here we should have that. If somebody's logged out, somebody logs out, then we also remove it over here too. So let's do that. Let's add the in the Canvas store. Let's add the account reducer. So in the Canvas store, let's add this brand new reducer account. What's that there? Are we not exporting? Oh, we're not exporting. Oh, I guess I'm missing that. Okay, so here I'm missing an export. There we go. Right, and so this is a Canvas store. Okay, so the imports might not be correct. So this is in the Canvas store. It's .courses. Oh, I think I have one too many dots here. Okay. So once we have the account reducer, we can add it to this like that. So now anyone who wants to know about the who's logged in, they're going to be able to go to that state variable. Now, when do we set that state variable? When do we set it? Well, I mean, we do need to set it when we log in, when we register, when we sign out, right? But what about if I log in, I sign in, right? I go to other URLs, right? Other websites. But then I come back to my canvas and I refresh, right? So I haven't signed in. I mean, I signed in already. I went to my profile, and I refresh. So I can certainly set this current user using when I log in, when I sign up, and when I sign out, right? But also I need to support it when I refresh the screen. I need to reset it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a component called session that what it's going to do is that it's going to wrap the entire Canvas application, right, and make sure that if we do refresh, right, this is going to run first. This component is going to run first. It's going to go out to the server, see if anybody's logged in, right? If they are, it's going to set the state variable, the reducer state variable, before any of the other screens have a chance to even load, right? So by the time all those other screens log in, render, the dashboard, any other screen, we will know definitely if indeed somebody's logged in or not, right? So we want to set that up for the rest of the application. Fetch the user from the server, store it over here, right, so that everybody else can use it, right? So let's do that. So let's create a session here. So in the account, right, let's create a session. So it's going to keep track of the session, of the server session. It's going to make a copy into the state variable. So let's copy that. Let's go over how it's implemented, right? So what's happening here is what we're doing is that we're grabbing the set current user from the reducer because we want to set it. And what we do is that on load, right, we're going to go fetch the current the profile, right? And it's going to come back. It'll come back from the server saying, we are logged in or not, and this could come back as a 401 if we're not logged in, okay? But that's okay. I'm going to catch it so that we don't crash. I'm not going to do anything with it. It's just that I'm not going to set the current user. So if it was null, then it's going to stay null. Right? If nobody was logged in, we still are not logged in, right? Because the profile, if it comes back with a 401, right, I'm not going to set the current user because there's nobody to set, right? But if there's somebody logged in, then the current user has a value. I don't get a 401, and I do set the current user in the reducer, right? And so anybody who's using the reducer will know the person who's logged in. Yes. Also notice I have like a pending here, because there is a moment that I don't really know whether somebody is logged in or not, right? I'm not sure, right? Not until I hear from the server. Either way, right? Either as an error or 401, then I am certain nobody's logged in, or right, I actually get a response with an actual user, then I know that person's logged in. But while the request is going out to the server, I don't know. Right? I haven't heard back from the server just yet. Okay? So I need to deal with this intermediate state of uncertainty. Right? So I did that by providing here a pending state variable. Right? So this session needs to render, but it doesn't know what to render yet. Okay? Because it's one thing if I know I'm logged in, and it's something else if I know I'm nobody's logged in, right? So at first it's pending, meaning I don't know yet, right? So it's true. But after the fetch, I know for certain, right? One way or the other, right? So I set the pending to false, right? After I hear back from the server, right? Now here in the pending, I have I say, well, if it's pending, I don't want to render anything, right? I don't want to render the rest of the application yet, right? Because I'm not certain. I don't know what to tell them whether somebody's logged in or not, right? So they're gonna, right? If I make the wrong decision, the wrong user interface is gonna render, right? But once I know and it's not pending, then I'm gonna render the children, right? So this is a component that's gonna wrap around the entire canvas application, right? So that it can before it renders all the rest of the screens, the dashboard, the courses, the assignments, any screen, right? By the time it gets to them, it'll certainly know whether somebody's logged in or not, right? Either way, okay? All right, so we have that. And so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna, in the, well, right, so we also need to set the current user when we sign in, right? So for instance, when we sign in, let's go to sign in. The sign in here, right? We're going to, oops, huh? And we're going to grab the, oh, did I copy this already? Huh? Account session. Oh, I already have this. Oh, this is session. I'm sorry. I'm looking for sign in. There we go. Sign in. Yeah. So I'm gonna copy that. We're going to dispatch set current user. So when I grab the dispatch here, right, and then so when I sign in and I get the current user, right, I'm going to store a local variable right here. Right, and then I'm going to set, right, in the dispatch, I'm going to dispatch set the current user so that now the reducer knows who is currently logged in, right? And this is a copy of the object that lives in the server, right? But I'm storing it locally in a reducer for convenience, right? For the rest of the screens, so that they don't, each one of them have to go out to the server and fetch this, right? Also, when I sign up, same thing. When I sign up, right, same thing, right? When I'm gonna get a copy of the user when I sign up. So I have the dispatch here, and then once I get a user from the server, I'm going to store it, and then I'm going to navigate, right? And finally, when I log out, when I sign out, right, I want to clear the current user, right? So in the profile, I also, right, when I sign out, I want to clear out the currently logged in user, so that to make sure that I don't have an old copy, right? So here's sign out. Sign out goes out to the server, right? And before going out to sign in, I clear out the current user and I make it null. All right. All right. So we're ready. We can account navigation. Wait a minute. Wait, did I not use session just yet? Did I use session? Session, create session, yeah, create a session. The session component will wrap the rest of the application so that it renders before. Once it figures out either way, oh, but I don't show you how to do that. When someone signs in, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's fine. We can, in the canvas here, canvas in the index, right? So we have the provider, there we go. So in here, we're going to create session, account session, like that, right? And we're just going to wrap this whole thing like that. Okay. So now, right? If I go to account and I let's see, is anybody signed in? Profile. Okay, I'm still signed in. Now, anywhere that I want to know if somebody signed in, I can just retrieve it. For instance, now any component can decide on whether I'm signed in or not. For instance, here this component could, say, well, if you are logged in, then there's no point in showing these two links, signing in and sign out. right? What's the point of showing that if you are already signed in, right? Or if I am not signed in, if I log out, then there's no point in giving you a link to the profile, right? So I could make logic now that I know whether you're signed in or not everywhere in the application. I can always retrieve the current user. I can write logic based on that, right? So let's do that. So in the navigation, for the account, this navigation over here, right? We implemented it. Where is it? Account navigation. It's this one, right? It's just a simple array of links, right? That render this over here, right? This link. So what we're gonna do is that this array should be different depending on whether you logged in or not, right? So let's do that. So here we're going to first grab the current user from the reducer, right? We're going to import the uSelect. There we go. And I could even print the user, presumably, right? I could say I could presumably print out the current user username. No? Oops. Ah. Huh? Right, so if I log in, I say Alice 123. Notice that Alice, right, is available in this component, right? If I go to sign in, sign up, anywhere, right? If I go to dashboard and then come back, right, it's always there, right? Anywhere, even in the dashboard, I can just display the person who's logged in over here, right? It's available anywhere through the selector, right? But instead of doing something as silly as that, right, let's instead say, well, if somebody's logged in, then only show the profile. But if nobody's logged in, then only show the sign in and sign up, right? So we can do that. So this, we can replace this. There we go. So I am logged in. So I should be able to go to my profile. There it is, right? So I don't have a sign in and sign up anymore. But if I go and sign out, notice that I can't go to my profile, right? And I'm in sign in. Oh, no spaces. So no spaces here. There you go. And so yeah, so sign in, sign up, right? And when I do sign in, Bob123, notice that I only get the link for the profile. Makes sense, right? The other thing that might be doing is that once I log in, so I would like to, for instance, if I go to dashboard, say, right? I go to dashboard, and then I click on account, right? Notice that by default, it's taking me to sign in, right? Because that's the way we did the navigate in the account route, right? But instead, it should take me to profile automatically, right? So again, I can make it so that if I'm signed in, it's going to kick me into the profile. But if I'm not signed in, then it's going to kick me out to the sign-in screen, right? So let's do that. So for instance, here in the account routing, right, I can grab the current user in the account here, right? I can grab the current user, and based on that, in this route here, instead of automatically navigating me into sign-in, right? I can make a logic and say, okay, well, navigate to, instead of hard coding the navigate to, this could be an expression, right? So if I'm not logged in, then yes, kick me into the sign-in. But if I'm already logged in, then kick me into my profile, right? So let's replace this with that. That says if there's a user logged in, then go to the profile, otherwise to the sign-in, right? So now if I go to dashboard and I come back to my account, it takes me to the profile instead of to the sign-in screen. Make sense? Now, if I sign out, right, I go to dashboard and I click on account, it takes me to sign in. See? So yeah, I mean, now that you have the current user there, that you can pull from the reducer, you can make a whole bunch of logic, right, based on whether someone's logged in or not. It's available everywhere. So the point was from the session was that should be available even if you refresh the screen, right? So for instance, if I sign in with Bob 123, right, and I refresh the reducer, notice that the reducer does remember, because the session is populating that, right? So if I go to dashboard and I come back and I refresh, if I refresh, meaning the reducer resets, but my session, right, that I wrap this whole thing in, is going out to the server to fetch the user and updating the current user in the reducer. So that when I go here, notice it remembers that somebody is logged in, even though I refresh the screen. Make sense?